Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to meet all of you. My name is Alisha Emrich. I am working on a concentration in young adult fiction in this program. This is actually my third time as a student at SNHU. I recently got my master's in English, and then I did a master's in creative writing with a concentration in fiction. And I was really thrilled when I learned that SNHU had an online MFA program focusing in genre writing. So, of course, I wanted to, you know, participate in that. And I thought it was also really cool about the new format that they have adapted with the videos instead of just strictly being writing posts. So, a little bit about my background. I'm a stay at home mom and wife. My husband was in the Navy. We lived in Washington State for the last 7 years. We recently moved back home to Georgia in 2017, which is where we are currently located. But we're both from Georgia, so this is home for us. And yeah, I'm just really excited to have gotten this far in the program. I've learned a lot as far as working on improving my writing. So, getting into the discussion about editing and writing, talking about positive mentors and influences concerning our writing and revision techniques. This was a hard one for me to answer. I would say that as far as I can think of positive role models or mentors that I've had, just about every instructor I've had, I think, has had something important to teach or impart to me when it comes to how to revise to make your work better. Um, I can remember my 12th grade creative writing teacher, Miss Thompson. She was a major influence on me, and I learned a lot from her as far as just not being afraid to experiment with my writing and try new things. And then as an undergrad, I worked in my university's writing center, and I learned a lot about revision both through the other faculty I worked with as well as the students. I think that having a better understanding of how the rules of writing work makes you better able to implement them into your writing. So I feel like that was something that was definitely a benefit when it came to improving my writing. And just being in the program here, even going through the critiquing process with my peers and instructors, I feel like the main goal is everybody has your best interest in mind when they're offering feedback on your work. And even you might read something of yours over and over, but you might not necessarily catch things, no matter how often you've read it, that other people are able to more readily recognize that might be areas that need improvement. So, I mean, I would say when it comes to revision with negative influences, I can't really think of any that have not really been helpful. I would just say that if something kind of maybe rubbed me the wrong way as far as how somebody offered revision advice or something to do with editing my work, I would say take everything with a grain of salt because you know I guess it's up to you as the writer to determine whether or not the feedback you're receiving is really going to work as far as what you're trying to accomplish in your writing. So I would say just take into consideration what they have offered, which is what I do, but know that ultimately, I guess, is your decision whether or not you use the feedback. But also keep in mind that the whole point is for all of us to improve, and that's what we want. So you can't improve if you don't at least try to you know take other people's suggestions and see if that works or not. But what was the last question? How did I learn to revise? Learning to revise is really just, I think reading a lot has made me a better writer because I know more of what, you know, a proper sentence or a paragraph should look and sound like, as opposed to when I was first starting out as a writer. being too wordy, using words way too often, the same words. So I think just like when I revise, I write it all down first. And I used to have the bad habit of trying to make everything perfect, but I don't do that anymore. I just try to write what I can, leave it alone for a little bit, and come back to it with a fresh perspective. And I find that that usually helps when I'm going back through my work and trying to, create a better version of it. So I think I've said enough for this video, but I look forward to meeting all of you, and look forward to working with all of you this term as well. Thanks. Bye.